Here we are on.
I don't know, pull up, ready for what to say.
I'm going to go over the evaluation process.
So I'll chip in when I have anything to say.
Okay, so we're going to go over the evaluation process on how it works. Pull up a couple things. This is going to be a bit slow because I didn't really prep for this. My apologies again. Oops, not that one. Nope, not that one either. There are too many things in my drive that are all starting with orbitals. Okay, so you probably have no idea that this type of course takes a lot of planning on our part. But in any case, what we want to tell you is that there are 3 milestones. You've heard already about them. So today is the 14th of May. This is the second day of liftoff. And then next week, pretty much every week, we have a mission control session. And there's a special day, June 2nd, which is your first evaluation, the first checkpoint which you have to clear. And basically, that's not too hard. It's basically refining what you did today, putting more ideas into it, and making it into something that you're willing to share a bit more with in your outline. So Wee-san and I will give you evaluation guidelines. We're going to make it in the form of a document. And basically, you have to copy that document when you evaluate other groups. And I'm going to show you what that's like in a little while. So after that, we are going to have another evaluation just about 4 weeks later on the 30th of June. Likely it won't be here. It won't be, sorry. So all of these evaluations are virtual. You can do them on your own on the beach, on the other side of the planet, at 4 a.m., 9 a.m., or whatever. But the second evaluation, we're quite likely to ask some of you who'd like to participate voluntarily, if you're in Singapore, to come down to a physical location, probably Block 71, which is opposite AYE, on the other side of campus, and hang out there and present, again, just like we did today, your ongoing project work. Okay, and you'll have your advisors, if they're around, or a team of advisors, give you advice about what you can do next. Okay, you don't have to participate in that. It'll be either by invitation or by volunteer from you. Space will be limited because it's not a very large venue. Our final checkpoint will be on July 29th. So that's another 4 weeks from then. So at that point, hopefully you'll be pretty close to finishing your project. And we'll be evaluating, your peers will be evaluating you basically on how close you are to completion, what features they'd like to see last minute put into your work. So yesterday you heard about, not yesterday, 2 days ago you heard about Agile from Wilson, right? It was at the end of the day around this time when your energy levels are sinking into the ground, right? Okay, so you'll notice that the evaluations are about 4 weeks apart. They correspond to either 1 or 2 iterations in an agile methodology method. Okay, so we encourage you to practice extreme programming or pair programming, where the 2 of you get together physically, work on 1 keyboard, work on 1 mouse, and try to code your way through the exercises. If you are in a team where one of you is going to be remote for part of the time, that's fine too. Then you'll have to worry about that, coordinating using Skype or Google Hangouts, which we've been doing today, or any other type of utility. There's some that are really good conference calling tools, one called VC, which is especially good for low bandwidth. So if you're going to some place like Cambodia or some parts of Vietnam which have really little bandwidth, you can use that. That's supposed to be very good. Okay, so now I want to show you how we're going to do the evaluation, and it's going to be a little tricky because I have to open multiple windows for this. Okay. Hold on.
Okay, what I mean is opening up Windows. I guess the first evaluation is just for you to actually just to refine your ideas. So what you presented today is non-binding. you are free to change your ideas, right? So you have about 2 weeks, right? You have about 2 weeks to brainstorm, try to do design thinking if you to practice, right? Try to do design thinking, come up with something interesting. So you have 2 weeks, and the first evaluation is a chance for you to get some feedback. Right? We're doing peer evaluation, which means that other groups will look at what you have done so far and then try to give you feedback. So it is both a practice in giving feedback as well as receiving. You receive feedback that's useful for you, but we are also expected to give feedback, right? So the first round of peer review is just your idea. It's not right. You don't have to have built anything yet. It would be nice if you have a prototype that you submit and then your peers can play with. Like I showed you a PowerPoint prototype that's really easy to build. You can do whatever you want, but it is nice to have a prototype for your peers to play with so that they can give you much better feedback. Okay, so that's your first milestone. You don't need to have built anything. You want to explain your ideas. It's good if you have a prototype for the person who's reviewing to play with. Okay, any questions about the first round review? Okay, means still going. So the second one, we would expect you are at least more than halfway through. Right, it's about 1 month. 1 month after the first round of peer review again. So this time, I think we would like, most of this is web app, so hopefully there's something up your peer reviewer can actually play with it. That'll be nice. Right? Or for all the reviews, we are going to ask you to submit a 1-minute video. Right? So if, for example, you are doing a mobile app, it's not convenient to show the app. But if you're here, if you are joining us probably in Block 71, bring your app, you can show us, we can give you feedback, like your peers can give you feedback, the advisor can give you feedback. But if you are not, that's fine. Submit a video, right? Submit a video to show what it is. Okay? We expect you to submit a video for all the peer reviews. 5 minutes, if I remember correctly, 5 minutes. Submit a 5 minutes, explain what you've done, and then show the features. So if you are doing a mobile app, don't worry. If you can't physically show it on video. Okay, so that's for all three of the peer evaluation sessions. Okay, so the second one you would have done 1 iteration if you look at the agile methodology, right, which is sort of 2, 3, 4 weeks for an iteration. So the first round, when you do your first round review, you are expected to specify that in this iteration, I want to complete these 2, 3 features, and you specify by describing the user stories. You heard about user stories on Monday, right? So you would describe like 3 or 4 or 2, depending on how many you intend to implement in that iteration. You heard about how to estimate that, but you're probably really poor estimator because you haven't done it. But still, try to estimate how many features you can complete, right? And write user story, as as a user of this product, I want to be able to do this. So that's a user story, and then your peers will look at your user story and then tell you whether they think you have met the specification, right? Met the user story, met what they're supposed to have done. So you would specify 2, 3, 4, depending on what you think you can do. And then 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, right, your peers would look at it and give you feedback on how you've done on those features. And then you do it again, another iteration, and essentially that's the end of Orbital. Right? So you get to do two iterations. Okay, so you tell your user story and then roughly say what the acceptance criteria should be. Your peers would look at it and then they will say, yeah, good, great, or no, not quite right. You should do more, or whatever. Okay? Then you do it twice and that'll be the end of Orbital.
Okay. So some of you heard this before in the briefing, but I'm going to have to go over it again with you, all right? So basically what will happen is that you will have to do a milestone. The first one is at the 2nd of June. So the 2nd of June is a Monday, so you have to have your materials ready by Monday. Basically what you're going to do is use the QA feature in Piazza. Instead of writing a question, you're going to write a note, and you're going to create a note for each milestone, right? So you can just, for example, copy the previous note that you did for milestone 1, for milestone 2, and then basically what will happen is within that week, that means on the Monday to the Friday, your peers are going to have to put in some information about what they think about your project. Okay, so evaluators, inclusive of your advisors, all those gentlemen and ladies who were circulating today, they're going to read your material, your project log, and discuss it and evaluate it according to the form that we're going to give you to evaluate your other tiers. And Wee-sun already said basically what the ideas are for each milestone, what we're going to have to do. So the milestone 1 is actually in early June, not in May. Okay, so you're going to have to copy some course-wide template. It's going to be an evaluation post that we're going to make into Piazza. Then you just Control-C, Control-V it, and then customize it to post it just to the advisor of the group. Okay, so you're going to do that, and then after everything is done, the advisor has all of the evaluations. They're just going to change the visibility of that to everyone in the group. Okay, so this is only the reason why we're doing this is specifically to make sure that we don't have peer teams that just copy evaluations from each other. All right, so you always have to keep your own evaluation, come up with your own ideas. Don't be influenced by what other teams have said about another person's project. Okay, negative feedback you can also give. You can give that anonymously on Piazza. So you can post a note to the group or to the advisor first, and then post it as anonymous, and then they will, again, share that with the team later. So I'm going to show you how this works in a couple minutes. Okay, the final evaluation is going to have a peer feedback where you actually have to rate the team. Did they do enough to achieve a level of performance that they wanted, right? So if you remember, Vostok, you have to get at least satisfactory. You know, you can't be too bad about your progress. In Gemini and Apollo, you have to do much better than average, especially for Apollo. And so people, you know, your peers as well as your advisors have to agree. Yeah, this team put a lot of work into their work, into their project. Okay, what we are aiming to do is to keep you with the same groups that you'll have to peer evaluate at each time. If you've already been assigned into a project evaluation group, you'll be evaluating other teams within that group, the same 3 or 4 teams within that group the entire time. You're going to see them for all 3 of the milestones. So that's where you're going to have to say, you know, did they continue to build on what they did on the previous one and show continuous progress? Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to try to mock it up for you. Okay, so on this interface here, this is the instructor account. It's a tag to my name right now. Okay, so I have my own evaluation group right now. It's only got a team of 2 students in it. I'll just show you very quickly. Okay, so this is my account, and it has 2 students, student A and student B. Okay, and so we're going to pretend that one of them is going to put their project evaluation log, and another one is going to evaluate them, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so I'm going to put this instructor's account on the left side of the screen. Okay, I have student A over here. Okay, oh, this is student B. Okay, student A is at the bottom over here. Okay, student B is at the top. So let's say student A is getting ready for the evaluation. It's almost Monday, and they want to get ready to post their note. Okay, So I apologize, this is a tiny screen, so I'm going to blow it up again and then hope that I can resize it to the right size later, okay? So this is a student account. I'm going to press over here for note. Let me just do one thing. Let's see whether I can get this to work. Yeah. Okay. So a little better now. So I'm going to be able to press note, and I'm going to make my post just to the class. All right, just to the class group. Sorry, to the instructor only. Okay, so I'm going to write my name. Okay, and this is basically what I'm trying to write. I'm going to do my project log now for milestone 1. Milestone 1. Okay, and I'm going to put some stuff here. Basically, we will provide a template for you. What does it need to include? Okay, so there'll be a format for a project log. The project log basically has some type of, it says some type of table. It has a timestamp, okay, and a description of what you did, okay, and how many hours it took, and who did it. Okay, this is so that your peers can figure out whether you did 130 hours worth of work. Okay, if you put something, as I told you before, if you say I learned HTML, but it took me 100 hours to learn it, probably they're not going to believe you because you learned it today for about 2 hours, right? So I'm going to go write that down. So it'll look a little bit like this, but it'll be much better formatted once we get that all done, okay? And in the project notes, you basically have to give some introduction to your project, what you're doing, and then pointers into what you did. So for example, you might want to go back to the ignition video and then point out when you did your presentation or pitch. So I'm going to try to do that for one group. Hold on a second here. Okay, so pretend we're Project Genesis, and I'd like to say, okay, I did my pitch at this time. Okay, you can go, for example, to the Share tab in this. You can copy this URL. Okay, and you can paste it in your project notes, and then you can put a time offset for it. So I think you may know how to do this already. So actually, you can just do it like that. If you do it like this and you specify a timing, it'll be included in the URL that you copy and paste. Okay, it's really simple to understand. Actually, if you look at this, Zaan already told you a little bit about what happens after the question mark in a URL. But basically, it's saying that the time offset for the video is at 44 minutes. You can put something else like 50 seconds, for example, and that will work. Okay, it'll jump right directly into the video at that point in time. Okay. Okay, so you're going to have to write your project notes as well into this post. Okay, so let's say we're finished doing up all of this information where I have both the project log and just make that nicer. Okay, so now this project node is live. Here's student B at the top right-hand corner. They don't see this post, of course, because it is not to them, right? So only the instructor's account will see this post. I'm going to put this back in the small corner. Okay, so this is the instructor's account. This is what your advisor is going to see, all right? So they say, oh, you know, who wrote this? Student A wrote this 50 seconds ago. They published a project log, all right? And they're going to look through it. They're not going to actually do anything with it until Friday, okay? After the entire week is over, after everyone else in that evaluation group who's supposed to evaluate this group has evaluated it, okay? So both student B and student A will make a review of this project. So let's go to student B very quickly. So student B is up here. Okay, and we're going to make their post public. So what they're going to do is they're going to do an evaluation of Project A's project. And there'll be a form that you'll need to just cut and paste. So we'll provide you with a form, you just cut and paste it here, and then you can fill out the radial buttons and other things. You're going to have to give some critical comments, some constructive comments, okay? And then you're going to, again, make this a post that's just to the instructor. Okay, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to post it. It's going to be a private post that's just to the instructor. If they have negative feedback, they should. If you have negative feedback, please do give it. It's very useful to give negative feedback to, especially constructive negative feedback to other students. But perhaps you don't want to be identified as that. So when you do that, you again send it to your instructor. Okay, and when the instructor sees it, they're going to be able to take that into account, and then they're going to repost your note as an anonymous note so that when it comes time after they've collected everything, then student A can benefit from that. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. I hope that's helpful to you. I'll try to compile this again into a shorter video that's more concise that you can reference closer to the evaluation time. Do we have any questions? You will be evaluating on average about 3 other student groups. We expect you to spend about 30 minutes doing the evaluations for each group. So it's going to take you about an hour and a half. They're going to do the same for you. So we appreciate it if you try to give constructive feedback. I think that's the most important for everyone. And to also give them words of encouragement, because over the summer, we know a lot of you get sidetracked with other things. Okay? If there are no questions, I know many of you are aching to get out of this lecture hall, so we're letting you go. All right? Good luck with Orbital. So yeah, just stand up and stretch out. We hope to see you again during mission control, but if we don't, that's fine. Okay? But I hope you'll participate again on Piazza and make it a more worthwhile venture than just a normal ideal e-form. It really depends on how much work you put into using that platform for everyone else.
Our mission control is, we'll have a talk. Usually some interest like next week to strap the quietness.
Not everything you do, but major things that you do, you're going to have to do that.
And it should be on the right. We have to hold on. Yeah, usually it's 3, and then might be one of them.